What's up, everyone? Channel 5 is reporting that Brittany Griner has been released from a Russian prison and is now back, as of this point, on American soil and most likely at home with her family. Guys, a special report on today. I was going to try to hold this for next week, but it's just too big of a story not to talk about immediately, so it's a special Channel 5 report. If you don't know by now, as I said before, USA basketball player Brittany Griner, who was serving a 9-year sentence in Russia for possession of marijuana, or it was actually a vape cartridge used to for for a vape pen for marijuana, has been released in a prisoner swap, if you will, with a Russian arms dealer named Victor Bout. And she is back home now. So this saga is over. She served, I believe, 10 months in a Russian jail and then prison. And the Biden administration and the Putin administration in Russia worked to do a deal. So there's a lot to unpack with this, of course, if you're not familiar with this whole thing. Let me first start out by saying I am glad she is being released. I'm glad she is back. I felt it was a bogus charge. We might not ever know the intent, but I'll put it like this. I watched the video of Brittany Griner at the checkpoint in the airport, and she seemed very casual. Didn't seem like jumpy or nervous or anything like that. Now, mind you, that was not her first time in Russia. As a women's basketball player, they play in the WNBA, but then to make more money, which they usually make more money outside of the WNBA, they travel overseas and play in Israel and Russia and China and all other places. Basketball is a global sport. And so she's used to going to Russia, but watching it, I didn't really get a sense that she was hiding something. Now, she very well, she might have been. She might have been smuggling in, or she might have just forgot. But the tales of her being a drug smuggler, or, as if she was working for the cartel for what was found to be 0.7 grams is, I felt that was a huge fabrication and not true. Whether the intent, like I said, we don't know the intent. Maybe she meant to do it. Maybe she had snuck it in before or not. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. In my research, they said last year the TSA found in luggage almost 6,000 guns, in people's luggage. TSA in America. People sometimes forget. I don't think all 6,000 cases were people trying to smoke. You've seen that story before. You forget it's in your bag. You might have a bag you usually carry with a handgun or whatever, you might be licensed to carry, forget it. People forget. So I don't know that. I don't know for sure. Maybe she'll speak to that at some point, but the stories of her as if this was some sort of drug ring she was in for 0.7 is ridiculous. And I felt that the charges brought against her and the time she got was bogus. To me, it was immediately, once they knew who she was, they immediately knew they had a person they could use for political gain. And that was totally what this was. Now, mind you, there is precedent with this in Russia. There was a 19-year-old named Audrey Lorber from Staten Island who was jailed with 19 grams. And I told you Brittany Griner had 0.7 grams. Audrey Lorber had 19 grams in Russia that they uncovered to, possibly be smuggling. Now that's a little bit more, or it's a lot more actually. And Audrey Lorber got 2 months and was sent back. No big deal, nothing. Because you know why? Because Audrey Lorber, nobody knows who Audrey Lorber is. She's not anybody that, not that she's not important to her family, but she wouldn't be a national story. Brittany Griner is a national story. Even as a female basketball player, and I know that women's basketball is not like men's basketball in this country, but it's still big. Brittany Griner is maybe the most recognizable women's United States basketball player. She's very tall. She's won championships. I remember when Brittany Griner came on the scene. I mean, she can dunk. She's extremely athletic, very, very good player. And so, Audrey Lorber, who you might not have even heard that name before until I just said it, and you wouldn't know her face if you saw her. She got 2 months for 19 grams, and Brittany Griner got 9 years for 0.7. Again, whether either of them were smuggling it purposely or whatever, I don't know, but I'm just telling you that's what the facts were. So, and understand something from the Russian point of view. In this game of chess, of world chess and all of that stuff, for them, it was a smart move to use Brittany Griner. I don't agree with it, but again, Russia doesn't care. She's not one of their citizens. If you have a big player like that, then let's see what we can get for her. That's basically what this is. And doing some more research, Vladimir Putin actually played this very close to the vest, and he actually wanted to wait until our elections to just kind of finish here to see kind of what leverage he could have with Joe Biden. He might have even been waiting for if there was going to be that red wave that everybody talked about that really didn't happen, which would kind of put Joe Biden even more under the gun, and maybe Putin could have gotten more back. You know what I mean? This is how it is. This is how they play the game. And so that's why it kind of took a minute. And so many people, and you have to understand something, people are demanding, bring her back right now. Well, technically you can't bring her back right now, regardless. And I'll say this for sure, Brittany Griner made a big mistake, you know what I mean? And she got caught in that, again, whether she, some people don't even believe she had it at all. I won't say that. I believe they found something. I don't think they would have just, picked her out for no reason. I do think whatever she had, that 0.7 is what she had, but that is on her. So I don't want to even absolve her like, she didn't do, make a mistake, whether purposely or not. I'm definitely not saying that. I just felt that immediately when they knew who she was, we were going to play this little game, and that's what we did. And so, with that said, Russia was waiting for a good moment. The elections kind of came out a little differently than what many people predicted. And so then, Putin's, okay, well, let's put this thing in action. And so now we get to another part of this. Well, we're very quick. Let me say this, because so many people are, no, I'll wait. So it was a prisoner swap. So they gave back Brittany Griner, and we gave them Victor Bout. Now, for those that don't know, Victor Bout is a Russian arms dealer, and he's been in custody in the United States since 2008. And Victor Bout, he was he was convicted on conspiracy charges and things like that. What he's convicted of is not actually harming an American or anything like that. They can't link him to anything like that. But he's like the wholesaler guy. He was selling arms to, these arms dealers, they kind of don't even care. They just sell to whoever's buying, you know what I mean? And they did make a film. There's a film based on Victor Bout. It's called The Lord of War, with starring Nicolas Cage. And I saw that movie, and very, very interesting, very good movie. But again, he's been locked up since 2008. And so there's this outcry that, and he has another nickname called the Merchant of Death. And it's like, people are saying, why would we trade a basketball player for the Merchant of Death? And I've seen people call him the most dangerous man in the world. He is not the most dangerous man in the world. First of all, let me tell you, again, I'm going to say it for the third time, he's been locked away since 2008. Okay. The first Iron Man movie came out in 2008. Victor Bout is not the linchpin for everything. Like, once he gets back, oh Lord, now it's going to be real big trouble. Do you understand? Since 2008, somebody took Victor Bout's place. Matter of fact, many somebodies took Victor Bout's place. It's not like you couldn't get a rocket launcher until he got back out of prison, and now rocket launchers is back on sale. Like, everybody relax. His heyday was really the late 90s and early 2000s, and he was already kind of losing steam by the time they caught up with him. That's how this game is. A lot of these guys don't last very long on the street because somebody's trying to knock them off and make money and things like that. It's a very dangerous business. You don't really retire as an arms dealer very much a lot of times. So this whole hand wringing of, oh my goodness, we gave up a known assassin, for just some basketball player. I don't, first of all, we had him in custody for 14 years. I think he had a 25-year sentence. So it ain't like he got a year in prison and we're giving him right back. I mean, he served some time, and I'm not trying to absolve him of his crimes because, again, I'm sure Victor Bout is not you don't want to just go to coffee with that guy. You better duck if you do. You know what I mean? He's what we call, he's one of those shadowy figures, most definitely. But again, not active. I don't see Victor Bout getting right back into it like all the other arms dealers are going to make way for him to reestablish his network. I mean, I heard a person in the political specter basically say that he's not, again, he wasn't even like in a Russian prison where he was keeping his operation going. He was in America. So it's not like he's still making calls and making money. No, all that's been gone. Okay. And as we know, as you can see, the war between Russia and Ukraine, people are still getting weapons from different places and all that. So to act like Victor is just going to now shift the balance somehow. I think personally, Mr. Bout is going to pretty much lay low and enjoy to be out. And those contacts he had have moved on, of course. So, this whole, man, we got fleeced, I don't really think that's, again, it's kind of a weird trade. I don't know. If Victor Bout was active, and we got him a month ago and we set him back out, I have a big problem with that because I'm like, hey, this guy is kind of, Now, that also leads us to another layer of this because there are, there's a Marine right now. I'm getting up now. So Paul Whelan has been in Russia for 4 years, detained. And he is accused of espionage and spying. And so a lot of people are like, I can't believe we got a basketball player out when we've got a Marine still over there. You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you get the Marine out? Now, it's a lot of kind of back and forth of what was he on the table or was he not? I don't believe that the United States sat down last week and brought up Paul Whelan's name. Like, okay, what about Paul Whelan? I'm sure they've been talking about him, even from Trump's administration. What do you guys want to do about Whelan? But again, I think Americans, you need to understand, we don't just get stuff because we think we are entitled to it or we want it. Russia has him on an espionage charge. So we just can't snap our fingers and tell Russia to give him back. It doesn't work like that. I mean, people are always like, if Trump was there or, or if Clinton or if Obama, whatever, it don't matter. Okay. Just like they can't tell us what to do if we've captured one of theirs. They weren't telling us what to do with Victor Bout for 14 years. We can't tell them what to do with Paul Whelan. But again, there are people that are like, this is totally unfair and all that. There is speculation that they were trying to do a 2-for-1, like give us Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan for Victor Bout. And apparently, again, this is just kind of some speculation. Nothing is 100%. But on good authority, they were saying it's either Victor Bout for Brittany Griner or nothing. They were not putting Paul Whelan in it. Now, another story I heard is that they were willing to trade Paul Whelan for a Russian assassin who, from what I understand, was recently active, and the United States was like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. See, so I'm saying this is the game. This is what this is. And so, and then again, people are acting like, well, we've left Paul Whelan. He'll die there. I'm sure they're still trying to figure out ways to negotiate for Paul Whelan because they've negotiated before. And what I mean with that is there's another Marine who was there. I mean, these are not even active Marines. Paul Whelan is a former Marine, and there's a guy named Trevor Reed who was released earlier this year, who was a former Marine. Now, Trevor Reed had been accused and convicted of striking or assaulting a Russian officer. Now, some people believe that was even a kangaroo court. and craziness, just like the Brittany Griner trial, and things like that of that nature. But Trevor Reed, he was swapped out. That we got him out for I'm getting the name Konstantin Yeroshenko. Now Konstantin Yeroshenko was a real drug smuggler. Konstantin Yeroshenko was convicted of trying to move like $100 million worth of cocaine. Okay. I think Brittany Griner, that 0.7 grams, I don't know the drug game, but I don't think that was maybe like $42. But Yeroshenko was moving hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay. Now, I didn't hear a lot of outcry then. And I'm very glad Trevor Reed is home. And I want to shout out Trevor Reed, because Trevor Reed has been very vocal about getting Brittany Griner home, and as well. And he's called out the Trump administration, and he's called out some other people too. He's been very vocal about that. And also shout out Paul Whelan's family, who was very understanding about the situation. They're not bitter at all, but it seems like a lot of other people want to be bitter. But, and so again, let's just look at the math. Trevor Reed accused of striking an officer. And then we have Konstantin Yeroshenko accused of moving hundreds of millions of dollars of cocaine. Is that an even swap? You know what I mean? Since everybody's now a draft expert, or a trade expert and knows the game, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate this whole trying to, blow this one up and then we ignore that. Like, if you're going to call it all the way across the board. All right. And people are not doing that, of course. And that's what to be expected, because everything's so divisive now. But that's the kind of the situation. So, and here's the thing, you guys. There are a lot of other people who are locked up abroad, and we just don't know them, because there's that old thing we talked about once before on this show of, if I was in a Russian prison, Brittany Griner wouldn't care nothing about me. Of course not. Not that she's not a nice person, but she wouldn't know nothing about you, because it wouldn't be a story, just like Audrey Lorber. Okay? No, but you didn't know a lot of y'all didn't know about Audrey Lorber till I just said Audrey Lorber. It's not that Brittany Griner is a cold person. I don't know Brittany Griner. I'm sure, she's been, and that's the thing about it too. A lot of people are hating on Brittany Griner because she's been very vocal about some things she doesn't like about America. And I'm going to touch on that in a second, but I'm saying it's not that. It's just that, again, Brittany Griner is a famous name. So it's a story. So the news runs with it and people learn about it and people get, people can't be concerned about things they don't know. I'm saying I know people are locked up abroad. I couldn't tell you their names. I'd have to study that and look for it and figure it out, even if their names are attainable right now. Brittany Griner was held for months and nobody even knew she was being held. You know what I mean? Until they let you know, how can you even, get the information? So there's that. And so let me hit very quickly as well. Because then there are people that wanted Brittany Griner to stay over there and rot, and she broke the law. It's her fault and all that stuff, which is crazy. Well, good. She hated America. So now she should, that's what she gets, and I never saw anything where Brittany Griner said she hated America. Brittany Griner spoke out about some things that she didn't like and she didn't appreciate happening. As have I, as I currently feel now about some things. But you got to understand, if me and you happen to have the same favorite restaurant and we go to that favorite restaurant and you get served and they get your order right, and then I get served and they get my order wrong. If I tell them, hey, you got my order wrong, you can't tell me, just relax. I thought you liked this place. Why are you making a big fuss? Well, because they got something wrong. It doesn't mean it's not my favorite restaurant still. It doesn't mean I don't love the restaurant, but I want them to fix what's wrong here. You know what I'm saying? I ordered a steak. They gave me, mashed potatoes and fish. I didn't order this. You got your order right, so you ain't got nothing to complain about. But they messed my order up. But it seems like anytime somebody wants to tell the restaurant to get well, then why don't you just leave this restaurant? Love it or leave it. If you hate the restaurant so much, you can go to another restaurant. I don't want to go to another restaurant. I just want the restaurant I like to get things the way I want them. Okay? They got your order right, get my order right. Doesn't mean I'm going to boycott the restaurant. I'm just boycotting the service. So, Yeah, think about that. So to kind of just wrap it up, this special report, we are glad. Channel 5 is glad that Brittany Griner is home again. I felt it was very much unfair. I stand by that. I felt that was a bogus charge. I felt this is how we were going to end this, as some kind of thing that Russia wanted to do for a political swap, which again, from a Russian standpoint, they played the game well. It's not right to be doing this to people, but this is what they do, and they played the game, and they got a guy back, because Victor had also become like a folk hero. You know what I mean? They hadn't forgot about Victor. So kind of like how Brittany Griner is here, they were really like just this whole Victor Bout. He become like a folk hero for them. So, I mean, it's just crazy to be in that situation again. Brittany Griner made a very bad mistake. You don't mess up abroad like that, because this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not absolving her of that. I'm just, absolving her of a totally exorbitant charge, and I didn't like a lot of people like, hey, that's Russia. I'm not going to agree with these Russian laws. I won't ever support that. Russia, the government there, the current regime would blow this country off the map if they got a chance to. So I don't want to hear this whole, well, that's Russia. Hey, got to respect what they know. I'm not respecting that. Russia doesn't respect us, not the Russian people. You know what I mean? I would love to go to Moscow under different circumstances at some point. It looks beautiful. I don't have a problem with the Russian people, but you know how these governments are. Not everybody's our allies. If you're not an ally of us, then I'm not going to just, 9 years for 0.7 grams. That's what it is. Don't mess up in Russia. Yeah, don't mess up in Russia. But again, you're not just going to be doing us any kind of way at the same time. But also, I'm sure Brittany Griner will at some point speak about this and say, yeah, I made a mistake, whether intentional or not. And I'm sure she's very glad that, things turned out the way they did. So that's all for now, but I wanted to get this on wax and get it out now, guys. It was a special report. Stay with us on the Mighty Sharp Network. All right, Channel 5, we got some more shows coming next week. We appreciate the support as well. So guys, I want you to know, always, 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 please be blessed. Stay sharp.